Hi, my name is Barbara, and this is my brother Steve. And in today's episode of Cooking with Love, we're going to be making cannoli, a favorite Sicilian dessert.
The cannoli is made from a fried pastry shell, and it's stuffed with a creamy, sweet ricotta filling. I think you'll be surprised to see how easy these are to make. Barbara, do you want to make the cannoli filling, or do you want to make the fried shells?
I'd like to make the cannoli filling.
Oh, sure. Take the easy part. The first step is to make the dough for our pastry shells. The ingredient amounts and the full recipe will be at the end of this video, and it'll also be in a file that will be linked to the bottom of this page. The ingredients are all-purpose flour, 1 beaten egg. This is Crisco or shortening that's been placed in the freezer for about 20 minutes to firm it up, granulated sugar, cinnamon, and marsala wine. Now, the traditional way to make the cannoli dough is to put all this into a bowl, mix it by hand with a spoon, knead the dough, and then let the dough rest before you roll out to make the circles for the shells. What I'm going to do is show you a more modern, convenient way to make the dough for this. We're going to be using a food processor to mix and knead our dough. The food processor is fitted with the cutting blade. We're going to add our flour, and then we're going to add the cold shortening. We're going to pulse this. Next, we're going to add the sugar and the cinnamon. We're going to mix again. And now the wet ingredients, the beaten egg and the marsala wine. And we're going to mix it until the dough comes together. After the dough starts to come together, make sure you use a spatula to scrape the sides of the bowl so that you get all the ingredients mixed in. All right, and most of this dough is now together as a ball. I'm going to take it out, put it on a cutting board, and knead it by hand just to make sure it's fully combined. All right, so I removed the dough from the food processor, and now I'm just going to knead it to make sure it's smooth and elastic. And that's all that's necessary. Now we're going to cover our dough with plastic wrap, and we're going to let it rest for 1 hour.
The key to a good cannoli is a good ricotta filling. There are several kinds of ricotta you can use. There's whole milk ricotta, and there's also impastata, which is about the best that you can use for cannoli. It's a very thick ricotta, a dry ricotta, and that is what you're looking to use. Impastata is hard to find. It's usually found in an Italian specialty store. If you don't have access to that, we can show you how to make a dry ricotta using the whole milk ricotta. We're going to take our whole milk ricotta and place it in cheesecloth over a bowl. We're going to tie the cheesecloth around the ricotta. We're going to tie that around a wooden spoon. We're going to place it over the bowl and refrigerate it for about 3 days for the ricotta to dry out. The ingredients for the canola filling are impastata, confectioner's sugar, and vanilla. You can also change it around if you'd like and add chocolate chips, pistachio, citron, or lemon zest. The traditional way is to mix everything by hand, but with today's modern conveniences, we're going to use a stand mixer. We're going to add the impastata to the mixing bowl. We're going to add the vanilla. We will start mixing this. And then we're going to add our confectioner's sugar. We mixed it at medium speed for about 2 minutes, and these are the results. Nice and creamy, nice thick texture.
The traditional way of making the cannoli shells is after you've gotten your dough rested, you would use a rolling pin to roll it out. You want to make sure that the dough is about the thickness of a dime. Then you're going to use a cookie cutter to cut out the cannoli shape. Or you can use a glass that's a 3.5 to 4 inch wide opening, and you just use that to cut out a circle shape. If you use a circle shape, you want to make it an oval by using one roll of your rolling pin to elongate it. You're going to wrap the dough around one of the metal cannoli forms, and then you're going to seal the edges of the dough together with a little bit of the egg wash. Now, the easier way to roll out this dough is to use a pasta maker. You're going to use the pasta maker to roll the dough till it's about the thickness of a dime, and it'll be a nice long sheet. Just make sure that you're using flour to keep it floured well. We have our dough that's been resting for about an hour. What we're going to do is take our dough, we're going to cut off a small portion of it, about 1/5 of what we have, and we're going to use that to make our cannoli shells. Take the remaining dough and make sure you wrap it well so that it doesn't dry out while we're rolling out this piece. Now, next, make sure we flour our board lightly and the dough, and we're going to press it down into a roughly rectangular shape, making sure that it's well floured. Then we're going to use our pasta machine at the widest open setting. Now take the piece that came out and fold it in 3, and we're going to pass it again through the same setting. And we do this 3 or 4 times until the dough starts to look very smooth and elastic. All right, now we're going to make sure that it's always well floured. We don't want it sticking in the rollers of the pasta machine. And we're going to advance the number on our pasta machine that closes the gap between the rollers by 1 notch. And you can see, as we advance the numbers, the dough is going to get more elongated and thinner. And again, we're going to flour it. And continue to rolling it out. We want the dough to be about the thickness of a dime, and that's getting pretty close. I think 1 more time should do it. All right, now we have our nice thin sheet of dough, and we can start cutting out our ovals using the cookie cutter shape. Or, as I mentioned previously, we could also use a glass or a cup that has an opening of about a 3.5 to 4 inch circle. If you cut out a circle, though, you'll need to make it into an oval shape. So take your rolling pin and just give it one quick roll in one direction only, and that'll make an oval. After you've cut the dough into their oval shapes, what we're going to do is take one of the metal cannoli forms and we're going to wrap the dough loosely around one of the forms. We're going to seal the edges of the dough together with using a little bit of egg wash. And make sure you press it firmly so that it doesn't slide off or open up when you're frying it. All right, now this is ready for the deep fryer. We have a pot of canola oil that's come to temperature. I'm just going to make sure by dropping a small piece of the dough into it and to make sure that it sizzles. And as you can see, it's sizzling nicely. So we're going to drop our cannoli forms with the wrapped dough, and this pot will hold 2 of them at a time. And it only takes about a minute for them to cook. As they're cooking, I'm just going to gently move them around so you don't have any one part against the bottom of the pot. Okay, golden brown, it's ready. So we're going to continue and fry up all our dough. After the cannolis have cooled enough, they just slip off of the tube very easily. And I just set them aside and they're going to firm up as they dry. Now, I didn't mention, but I put oil on these tubes before I start putting the dough on them to make it easier for the cannoli to slide off. The other thing about these cannoli shells is that if you put them in an airtight container, they will last for up to 2 months. What I like to do is make them just around Thanksgiving time, and then I have them for the holidays, for Christmas, for New Year's, and there's always a batch ready, and all you need to do is have on hand is your impasata to make fresh cannoli cream. These cannolis should always be filled immediately before you're ready to eat them. Never fill them in advance because they will get soggy. So our pastry shells are finished, they're cooled. We have the ricotta cream filling ready to go. The easiest way to fill these shells is with a pastry bag. You could just use a small spoon and fill them manually like that, but I find using a pastry bag is much easier. So we're going to insert the tip of the pastry bag into the center and slowly squeezing, and on the other end. And that's one cannoli that's finished. Now you could decorate the ends of the cannoli with chocolate chips, pistachios, citron. I think Barbara did say that in the previous video. But I like to leave them plain like this with just a little bit of powdered sugar. Now, if you don't have a pastry bag, you always have the option of just using a regular Ziploc bag and cutting off the very tip of it, fill it, seal it, and then squeeze the Ziploc bag. I'm just going to put a little bit of powdered sugar. And there you have it, a favorite Sicilian dessert cooked with love.
And now we have the finished product, our homemade cannoli, and my adorable nephew Kyle is here, who volunteered to taste the cannoli for us.
All right, here we go. Nice and firm.
What do you think? Good? Good.
Good cannoli.
There you go, made with love. Hi.
Welcome to my, go ahead, try again.
Piece episode frame by frame.
The first step